You are watching Eswatini TV. Sibuko seMaSwati. What a way of ending the month of August. Hello and welcome. Monday, the 31st August. The year is 2020. Of course, the local sports, the sports fraternity at large, mostly football, is still in shock after the the death of one of the top coaches in the Kingdom of Eswatini, Thabo Vilegatu. We touch on that, but before we go to that, we will end the month of August in a special way. We will be joined by our own and special international golfer who is also based in the Republic of South Africa. Nobuhle Dlamini will be talking to her through Zoom to take us through the journey, how she's been doing currently under the the pandemic that has actually hit the entire world. She also gave us some of the ins and outs to how she's doing good and some of the words of encouragement to upcoming golfers, especially to the ladies, since especially in the Republic of South Africa they were celebrating the month of women as the month of August. Otherwise, activities were over the weekend. Manzini Golf Club, they were back to action. We hear from Captain Wakil Lawrence, where in the company of Linda Dlamini, they had a chat on some of the things that need to be done. We'll also touch on other things pertaining to the weekend, where we saw the bikers, of course, once again gaining a momentum at the at the rally. So we'll also look at how it has changed this time around, where international bikers were not allowed to come at the riders' range. Otherwise, other things to take center stage also include the pool activities were taking place over the weekend, where Correctional Pool Club, they are actually taking on a new height. They are looking to win this year's league. Otherwise, those are the things to take center stage this evening. Without waiting any time, I'm in the company of Linda Dlamini. Nguvusele Ngosi.
Nguvusele Fabrice ngikufolo ukukhuluma emalwe viewers ekhaya. Ngivusele ne-international golfer yethu Soshilo Watsi, our star in South Africa, Nobuhle wakadlamini.
All right, now we have actually tried this occasion for a couple of times for the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, trying to be in touch with Nobuhle, of course, with her schedule also not an easy one, a tight one. So the time has finally arrived. She has joined us through Zoom. We welcome you on the program this evening, Nobuhle Dlamini. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Fabrice. I'm very well. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. We got a chance to have you. I think we've tried this for a couple of chances, and I think finally you're here now. Maybe first of all, the question is to ask is that we know that where you are in the Republic of South Africa, you are celebrating the Women's Month in August, and then this is the last day of August. One would say, what a way to get you and to give us more details about you, how you're doing, and the industry at large.
Yeah, it's been quite an amazing month for me. August, as it being Women's Month, especially well celebrated here in South Africa. But I mean, I'd like to echo the Women's Month everywhere, all over Swaziland as well, and also to motivate women to continue fighting the good fight and just try their best to be successful in whatever they do. So I'm really chuffed that I'm where I am today at this time of the year.
Talk about your career shortly. I think if you look at maybe how your 2019 went, you winning the likes of Joburg Ladies Open, but coming to 2020, the pandemic has hugely affected the golf industry. To you personally, how have you been affected by the pandemic since the beginning of the year?
It's affected my career quite a lot in terms of playing. I haven't been to play from March, if I recall. The start of the year was quite good. From last week of January up until last week of March, I was quite active. And I was doing well, and I was looking forward to getting on with the European season. But unfortunately, it just never got going because the pandemic got so worse. But I mean, things are easing down. It's getting better. We're allowed to get back and play tournaments, but unfortunately, Europe is still struggling with it, and they have imposed the restrictions again. So it's looking unlikely that I will play this year. But what can we say? I've still got quite a lot of work to do with SuperSport, and there's also other work that I've always wanted to do in terms of development, so getting other kids involved in the game. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on this year. It's an opportunity for me to do that, and also to get some work done on my technical side of the swing. So it's not a waste. Maybe I'll look back at this year sometime in a couple of years and say, maybe 2020 was a blessing in disguise. Look at what we've done.
You touched on SuperSport there. We'll get into that in a moment, and how you've achieved to become the ambassador of one of their activities. Now, I'm coming to the activities now, resuming. One would say even a majority, okay, I think you're trying to switch off your TV there. You're right there. Okay, you're back now. Thank you. I think in terms of activities, now you've resumed your activities, and I can give you this much that Eswatini, especially young, talented golfers, they miss you. They are actually waiting this chance also to see. I think some of them are watching. Now you've resumed your activities. I think you're also playing an ongoing tournament. How has it been going? And then how maybe tough it is coming back on the course and trying to hit the ground running?
You mean after the lockdown?
Lockdown, the resumption of the activities, yes.
Yeah, it's been quite a big challenge. I mean, I was home from the initial lockdown, which was in April, and only got back last month. So I tried to do as much practice as I could at home, but obviously it's not the same. My coach is over here, gym instructors also this side. The efficiency wasn't quite the same, but I mean, I was so happy to be home for such a long time. I don't think I've been in Swaziland for 3 months at a go in 15 years now. So I was happy to spend such a long time at home. A lot. Every bit of time that I get, every bit of free time that I get, I go home. But unfortunately, it's just never enough. I don't spend enough time at home. So if I get a chance to go home, I always do.
Quickly, just in the interest of time, let's talk about your schedule internationally, the European tour. I think now the borders are open. Some of the activities you can travel now. How is the schedule looking like? Maybe going forward, going for your September, November, October. How is the schedule looking like?
There's not much left for 2020. We've had 16 events being postponed to 2021, and we're only left with 3 tournaments for the year now. I would have actually left for Switzerland 3 weeks ago, but unfortunately the country has imposed restrictions to say if you're coming for work or athletics or things like that, you're only allowed to stay in the country for 5 days. And unfortunately, that's just not going to work for me. The tournament is 4 days. I have to get there 4 days before the tournament starts. So it's just one of those things that's unfortunate.
And of course, the big moment is just to talk about your achievement now as the Let's Play ambassador. We were actually talking about it, me and my colleague Nidata, to say it's a big achievement. And then just take us through it. And how did it come to happen? And what are some of the responsibilities that you have to take with this post that you've been, blessed with?
Well, first of all, to be appointed ambassador of SuperSport being such a big worldwide company, especially such a big brand in Africa, I'm quite chuffed to SuperSport, and it's quite an honor for me to represent them. Going forward, I have some exciting roles ahead. I mean, I'm the Let's Play ambassador. So Let's Play is basically all about getting kids active through sport and getting them motivated to strive at whatever they do, keeping fit, and obviously if they're fit, they then be able to concentrate at school and have bigger achievements for themselves. So this is going to actually enable me to grow bigger in terms of doing junior development. So all those roles are based in junior development. So I'm excited to do those exercises.
Like I mentioned, Nobuhle, I mean the company of Ferdinand Dlamini has got one or two questions also to touch on Dlamini. Anything you can ask Nobuhle?
Yes, umbuto lengambuta wona. Congratulations Hlobi ngekuba ambassador yaka Super Sports Let's Play. Umbuto wami uthi ngiyakuva uthi uyakhumbula ekhaya. Ngabe vele uva ngasi ema sports stars celebratewa kahle noma kakhulu locally nawubuka wena ungalapha eSouth Africa. Second question, it's singambona ivele Nobuhle abuya lakhaya aqala involve njenge academy ema golfers ma young golfers atokhula afike kule level ofike kuyo.
But sesikhuluma maqiniso in terms of ku celebrate ku celebrate ama achievements ama athletes. Ngiva ngazuthi level lethu kusesekuningi lebangakhona kusita ngakho. We need people to be more active and more involved. And I do know ukuthi bayabukela, bayalalela, and bayati ukuthi kwendekani. We just need more involvement. If they get involved, we also get encouraged to do more for our own people as well. There's huge potential Eswatini. Like I said, this platform that I've just been put on is a great door that has just opened for Swaziland. I'm willing to take this thing into Swaziland, but I support ibaphathi labanemandla ekusikhombindlela ukuthi if I wish to do something like this, ama resources labangangisita ngawo nako. Perhaps I need to meet the right people and sit down and discuss about it. But there's huge potential, and I appreciate the little that Swaziland does for me.
Okay, time is against us. My producer is actually about to log off on this whole thing. But quickly, a message maybe to women in sports at large, especially in the kingdom of Eswatini. We've got a problem where women in sports, they don't have that much of patience and pride in what they're doing. Is there any message you can give them? Not only golfers, they're athletes. We've got different athletes, so the likes of Pumuli, all the sporting activities, women, the sporting activities. What would be the message to you? How can they achieve what you have achieved?
Yeah, I think what you're asking me now just links to what you've just asked. So basically, I would motivate them to go out there and not be shy to try out different activities if they haven't started or if they haven't been involved into any sport. If they're already involved in any sport, I know it's tough because our structure is just not that organized yet, but I'm sure there's hope. I've had a chat with the Minister of Sports and he's quite hopeful, and there's great things that we can do together. So ladies, just keep fighting, focus on what you want to do what you can on your own, and support will come.
All right, there you have it. Thank you very much, and keep well. Congratulations once again for your nomination as the ambassador. And I think we'll keep in touch and finding out how you're doing with the different activities, your games, and in your schedule and everything that has to do with your career in golf.
Thank you.
You have it. That is Nobuhle Dlamini, who is based in the Republic of South Africa, Joburg to be specific, where one would say one of the best talented sports personnel we have in the golf industry. I mean, I think Tanze would see she mentioned a couple of things that maybe for those who are listening right now, I miss home. It's been 3 months without being home for the last 15 months. He's got the passion for the sport. I think majority, Nababuga, maybe she would talk about mostly about herself and how she's doing, but I think the word home was there, and I think this is what we need: patriotism, being able to remember where you come from. And I think this is a good thing she mentioned. And in the industry, and I think her career is such a miracle. I think a lot is yet to happen.
Such a patriotic superstar langiyo yena Nobuhle wakadlamini. Ngicabanga ukuthi Fabrice lokumqoka kakhulu ukuthi uyasho ngimvile ke mina amagama akhe there is a lot like sathi ngakuthi kwendeke kule sport fraternity lakhaya. There is a lot engihlale ngikhuluma ngako ongelamalanga ukuthi kumele ukuthi kube ngithi thina baningi bamvu lakhaya labanemali bosoma business itinkampani letinga supporta labamlabo buka eSouth Africa bam recognize khona. I don't remember.
We have a lot of activities ongoing where we're not trying to say now change and stop everything and make her the brand ambassador, but I think this is one step we can also use to say yes, let's be recognized and recognize our own athletes in the especially women.
I usually say kusamele kuphume kuqala lengqomvu lakithi kulaba labanye labadzala labasemabhizinisini bathi labantu bema sports labantu begaluva labantu bebhola kusamele kuphume lokuqala until then kusekhashane vele kusadinga seletinto but nje ngicabanga ukuthi pick up kuyena nobuhle vele we are very very much proud ngaye ngeachievement yakhe because achievement le ngicabanga ukuthi even nalabamfana labancane but I understand I remember ngisambona kweqala yena nobuhle about 12 years ago the young golfer
when she had a small tournament yes
the young golfer lokumbona ukuthi ngathi vele uyakhashana naku sokhashana nyalo.
Wow, there you have it. Thank you very much for joining us, Noble, of course, for that big opportunity. And I think a lot has to be learned from you as an international golfer. A lot of upcoming golfers, especially in the women fraternity, have a lot to learn about. Otherwise, those who are just joining us on different platforms, it could be on YouTube, on other platforms, we're saying it's Temidlalo and Sway Live. A short break with a montage to look at some of the activities over the weekend. We'll come back, we'll look at other sporting activities.
Lapha sikhona ke sisenkonyeni golf course. Sikhuluma nga2022 nje, sikhuluma ngefacility yala nkonyeni golf course, inkundla lenshansha.
Nompopo kasebenzi hey.
In as much as weekend activities were ongoing. Otherwise, the sports fraternity, mostly the football fraternity, entered the weekend not in a good way after the loss of one of the best the Kingdom of Eswatini produced. When you look at platforms, you look at achievements, you look at club representative, and you look at continental representative. Himself, Taboko Kivilagati, is no more. May his soul rest in peace. I'm still in the company of Linda Lamin. I think wow, there's a lot we miss about him. He's I think we used to like about how he handles the interview. He used to handle interviews. We will miss that. We miss his way of defending himself when he lost and he didn't want to explain. But at some point, Singasho Master, you also have a career in coaching, but maybe when as a coach now, I would say there is somewhere maybe you used to meet and share words of wisdom.
Fabrice ngicabanga ukuthi uqinisile vele silahlekelwe coach and experienced coach a soldier of many wars watilwile ke team letinengi kakhulu what win every time ngiyakhumbula siba ne courses a technical center as part of the association yabo coach bekafika lapha mina nje wathi nakaqala kungibona wangibita eceleni washo wathi you are doing a good job ukuthi ufike uhambe uyofunza coaching because it will booster i-career yakho. Safika uyokhumbula 2018 World Cup sisinaye las analyzer and ngicaba ukuthi umove ubekanga mind ukuthi angabuta afune advice kumuntu omncane. I mean from time to time abe abuta ema tactics ngebhola sike sabanike because 97 nibamvu ngeke nihlale ningabi nema nebona yes ngekubona ngeliso ngekwehlukana sakwenda ke naye lokho but njengema ngisho ukuthi njengema adults sakhona ukuthi sisolve. The next day nasibonana kaSomhlolo wangangamboni ke mina wangitsinzela ngemuva wathi 8 Abraham Partizo besamba na Partizo and wamangala ukuthi how benine thinking
because Koki here in the studio besikhuluma ngeSwara ngiyakumbula of the time nasikhuluma nge 51 games unbeaten and then the next thing samufaka under the new name ukuthi ngathi behave nga Mourinho and then asendibana emavuso wathi hey no nina niyangisukela bafana mina yabo I think he had that thing but at the end of the day is football in this sport and like you touched on the issue of 2018 World Cup was part of the analyst here in the studio when we broadcasted live and during the games he will say something and say hey mfana hey no lomdlalo lona kasoka but I think when you look at his career his achievement he has seen a lot.
Ngicabanga ukuthi is the only coach naye bekahlale vele aba proud in record like is the only coach ye coach two big teams like Kyle Kuyimba Highlanders lo coach unbeaten 99-2000 then Babane Swallows 2017-18 ngicabanga ukuthi is the only coach kwenda logo but more si tribute yakhe yena Thabo Khokhe vele kade ngicabanga ukuthi sitaba nayo Thursday.
All right, there you have it. I think once again we'll highlight that more tribute coming about Thabo Khokhe Vilakache will be on Thursday show Lipo Eswatini. This was just a way to say not only football has lost but the sport at large. So he had to feature also on this program. Otherwise, more details on the Thursday program. Now, golf activities were resuming in Manzini over the weekend. I mean, Bokona under the leadership of the team that went to visit the golf course in Manzini. We've seen Babane Golf Course resuming. We've seen Ngonyeni, Bomananga, all the areas. So Manzini was the only place left.
Yeah.
But you were shocked when you got there. A lot of things have changed. We'll get to that in terms of the course. But how are they responding under the current situation? You did talk to the captain of the club.
Oh yes, Fabrice now ufika lapha eManzini Club nabo bewenda vele a procedure the new norm nangabeka kanjalo ukuthi uyafika uyabhalisa bacheck temperature usanitize then bese soyahamba uyale ku golf course safika ke sayikhanze golf course yaManzini ngicaba ukuthi
muwe lo master
yes
so una talent alikhona yini master
likhona kancane
ngoba nguvela ukuthi utsanza amatubane utsanza cricket utsanza ibhola swimming ayingakuva nakhona ngathi uyayangena amandi so
but ke Fabrice must say nasifika lapha eManzini Golf Club because banayo i-development program yabo safika sakhanze ama juniors adlala the two young boys labe banginika i-coaching kancane ngegaluva one person lo ufunza kuTimvu noma ngabe umncane kanganani bafika bangifundisa sakhanza sebacetha bona because i-program yabo
uyibambe kahle in master kule position
bebangifundisa labafana bangifundisa nendlela loma ngayo nendlela lobamba ngayo ibhola you see ngilengakufika ngakuthanza mina ukuthi if a young boy lo njengaloya atafike angitshengise onke lama basics ukuthi uma kanjani uyibamba kanjani indvuku uyisha kanjani ibhola nalamahlombe ahamba kanjani nasoshala ibhola ngicaba ukuthi they are doing a good job.
I think Nobuhle will be happy to see this, to say that now you have also taken a course for the sport. Now I want to see your shot, master. I'm very curious about your shot. Was this your day one, master?
Day one, first time.
So we shouldn't judge your shot
first. No, in fact I had the best shot Fabrice because nawubuka as a beginner ngicabanga nje but credit ngiyinika kakhulu vele le development program yayo bengaka concentrate mina kakhulu ekushayela ibhola bengilalela
so yashaya ke master
yes bekulele
muwe lo master
ngimloyo
manje le direction ngathi wide line das la
Feb.
Camera nje ayikho kulanzima.
No, uqala i-direction vele yabaphuwa. But nawuqala Fabrice mina bengicwa kakhulu ngokuthi njoba ngisho ukuthi bengilalela kakhulu ukuthi the young boys banika instruction letsini for i-direction nekuthi ibhola ngigcina ngishayeleni lokho bese kulandzela. Mina bengicwa kakhulu nga the two young boys.
So these are part of Rema juniors that are under the program there, which is one way maybe they're trying to improve the sport. Now, you talked about arriving and finding, but I'm not happy about the course, Master. The course, the course itself. I think I'm looking at some of the golfers under the region, Gamanzini, the well-known, the Waki Lawrence, the captain, and others. But the course, Master, and the dust and everything, and it's a work in progress there.
In fact, I couldn't differentiate between the green itself and the rest of the course because bakude lo mehluko
bathingile ngayini
ngicabanga ukuthi mhlambe bakhuluma ngewinter but nje vele le cause ngicabanga ukuthi it's one of the worst cause lesinayo in the kingdom lekusathi ngakuthi bakamanzini ma sponsors including naye masipala bayithathele bayibeke etandleni tabo because ligugu labo leli isekhathi edolobheni kamanzini awufuni Fabrice ukuthi ema visitors laqhamuka ngaphandle kwelive nakahamba lapha kamanzini abuta the cause ledutane nedolobha bakhombise imanzini golf course but afike bathi Eswatini ema golf course akhona aphuwa ngicabanga ukuthi le standard sakhona ayisiyo lenhle vele kubi kakhulu.
You did talk to Captain Waki Lawrence. Maybe mhlawumbe for the viewers they might think that you are going ahead and discussing about how the causes is. Now, Dlamini did have a short interview with Waki Lawrence, the captain of the Manzini Golf Club, and explaining how the restriction, they are following all the rules and how they're trying to get the cause in order. This is Waki Lawrence and of course questions from Linda Dlamini.
We in Manzini, we are very happy to be back on the golf course, and with the sponsorship of Dupes coming in to help us, we have got so many safety measures concerning the COVID-19. Dupes provided us with hand sanitizer, and the Manzini committee, we bought a thermometer to do every golfer temperature before you come on the golf course, and the caddies, we take your temperature and we take your contact. So if you are above temperature rate, we make contact with the health ministry and say that John Brown has exceeded 38 degrees. Okay, if you watch us on the tee box and on the green, we are more than 1 meter distant from each other. On the tee box, one golfer is entitled to be on the tee box at a time. On the green, one golfer is entitled to be close to the flag at a time. We always 1 meter ahead from each other, distant away from each other. That's how we practice social distancing. And every golfer's get a hand sanitizer in your golf bag. After every 1 or 2 holes, you sanitize your hand before you continue. It's compulsory that we do that. We got a guy that every day he waters the green and we open the borehole. If you see the water here, we take water from here and water the greens and the tee boxes. That's what we do at Manzini to keep golf going. But this is where we exercise to beat COVID-19. Because the more you exercise, you beat the virus. But if you sit home and just fold your hand, if you contact the virus, it will definitely beat you. So we need to fight with the government to kick COVID-19 out of Swaziland.
Mr. Lawrence, I've got nothing against you, but if you're doing that about the grass, why is it still there like that? You say that you're putting water, and if I'm looking at it well, there is water there. There's I don't know, is it a river water? What's there? But there shouldn't be a problem. Why is the grass the way it is, Guns? You are saying that there is a garden who does it. We're not attacking Mr. Lawrence. Yeah. We're just talking about facts. This is one of the things that we are doing to develop the sport. What's in now? What went wrong?
Ngicabanga sifa president dinengileti invalid contributako lokunye ukuthi vele it's an open space akwendlula wonke umuntu vele banyathela and bekusalungiswa ke nalomgwaco netikulumba lapha behlethi ihamba lengicabanga ukuthi ngiwo lokunye lokwa affectako le golf course but ngicabanga ukuthi going forward ukuthi ngakuthi bayibiyele bathi ukuthi baye owner le golf course nabayibiyela kude umumvulo tawendlula lapha kude mhlambe timoto leti tawuhamba khona cause singabe protect mina ngiyadi ke ukuthi abantu begaluva bay protect kanganani i-golf course more especially the green so ngicabanga ukuthi nakhona kamanzini incumbi yakho lihlathi vele utshani bomile unisela I'm not sure yes washo yena Mr Lawrence captain ukuthi bayazama nginisela but I'm not sure if kuniselwa maybe once a month or twice angadi.
We're praising the causes, Master, as we look at the pictures. And I think we talked about how, of course, the race was despite something else. You talk about Mbabane, they are quite doing well. You talk about Ngonyeni, another golf course you visited and you are still going to it now, next step, you were impressed. Now, if maybe players, golfers coming from the Manzini region, if their performance at some place is not good, should we judge that performance from this course? Yes,
but njengoba ngisho Fabrice kunama positives nama negatives. I was happy, very happy nangibona i junior development program yakhona lama junior golfers akhona a trainer and bekude mhlambe ukuthi ungathi khona indlu bagayidile but njengoba ngishilo ukuthi kunebamvu labendlulako nje ukubona ukuthi lapha abantu bayadlulela bahamba and njengoba kunedikulumba lapha tiyachubeka nemisebenzi so ungabajaja ngithi vele badlala ku course.
Look at how the ball has to jump
exactly le ball ayihambi smoothly kahle lapha ku green. Uyabona nje vele ukuthi mningi usamningi umsebenzi kaManzini.
A lot has to be done, of course, when it comes to that cause in Manzini. Otherwise, Dlamini did not only visit the Manzini one, he also took a visit the Ngonyeni. Before maybe they have a discussion about what was happening at Ngonyeni, let's also take a look at this from the Ngonyeni golf course where Mr. Dlamini was over the weekend.
lapho la sikhona khona ke siseNkonyeni golf course sikhuluma nga2022 nje sikhuluma ngefacility yala Nkonyeni golf course inkundla lenshansha sike sakuvotela ke mbukeli etinyangeni letendlulile letimbalwa uthi lapha eNkonyeni bakha igolf course lenhle lensha lengasho ukuthi iworld class bona ke sebavele ba 2022 seyiqalile ke vele kudlala sekungasho nje ukuthi labadlala ko laba bayithokotela lenkundla lenhle kakhulu nathi sawuchubeka ke mbukeli weEswatini TV sikubukele ukuthi lenkundla ngabe vele kuhamba kanjani iyabona nje nathi bonela mbukele ukuthi nawe vele iworld class and njengoba sengishilo ukuthi 16 months away bona vele sebavele bakuleso sigaba leso sitaqhubeka mbukeli sikulethele ukuthi ingabe vele bachuba njani la eNkonyeni. Shut up.
Beautiful stuff, of course, from our team, Eswatini TV sports crew. Beautiful pictures and especially a beautiful link by himself, Mr. Dlamini, where I want to get specific details from him. And I think from the course that I just saw, I think if you know what's happening internationally, currently there's the BMW Championship that just finished. I think we are able to host such tournament. You know, you talk about your Mumbai Open, or the best golf tournament can feature on that golf course. Having seen another horrible one, of course, in the Manzini region, that one is up to the standard. I mean, what's your take?
Fabrice, yes, sikhuluma nge-world class golf course. Ngicabanga babonile babukela umehluko. There is no way labanga defenda ngayo kamanzini because i-weather ngicabanga emanzini nangonyeni iphose kufane. In fact, engonyeni cishe bese sekungasi kuyashisa kancane. So ngicabanga ukuthi asikho zathu sekuthi banga defender le golf course lena yinhle kakhulu Fabrice. Ngicabanga ukuthi njoba sengishilo ukuthi i-world class and uyambona lo green ukuthi vele ukhona and nalabamvu labadlalako lapha yababona ukuthi
exactly
bekunama sponsors ke Fabrice lapha Mercedes bekakhona Spa bekakhona. Ngicabanga nje ukuthi engonyeni vele benda tinvo letinhle kakhulu and amaseke Fabrice ukuthi it's the OT is Louis Oosthuizen design
is the one who's saying he's going to kill the company.
Louis Oosthuizen design.
Yes,
there's a similar golf course like design in Mauritius.
Wow.
Liyasengonyeni. So unga understand ukuthi if does still compete nabo Mauritius si Eswatini so vele bona engonyeni ngicabanga ukuthi vele basebenzisa a world class golf
Master ngambutumbutola ukuthi I think we know worldwide football in a fellowship in terms of people love football. But if you look at the direction some of other countries have taken, when you know, I'm not saying we're not doing well in football. Hear me very well. But when you look at where we are in terms of golf and where we're in football, it's not the same. Because I think Lesotho right now, some countries within the region would want to reach where we are in terms of golf. We just talked to Nebuhle, one of our own. There's Jamie Pennington. There are a lot. You've done the tour. Look at the courses. Facilities are there. Sponsors bring themselves for golf. Don't you think maybe it's high time this sport is given more attention? Not to say more than football, but more attention. There is a lot we can get.
Why not more than football? If they are doing okay. Because now kuluma nge facility ngicabanga ukuthi le facility yabo. In fact, if bekwakiwa bekungakhiwa i-golf course la, best over hundreds of millions kuthiwa baspendile kule project leyo, but these guys angathi
and this is not golf union doing anything. It's someone who comes up and say I want to make it happen.
Exactly. So uyabona ukuthi lo mehluko omkhulu kakhulu. These guys are professionals bayati invola bayentako and uyababona leli goal labanabo. In fact ayikapheli Fabrice thina sisabona ngicabanga ukuthi 80% wenvola sayiphelile but nasifika 100% ke ngicabanga nje ukuthi benda invola elenhle kakhulu Fabrice ngonyeni. I was very very happy nasifika khona yakhumbula ukuthi even last time sasina sicala kuyi profile.
Beautiful pictures, beautiful view.
Kakhulu Fabrice. Njoba sengishilo ukuthi lo mehluko sibuya kamanzini besibona nakhona bese siyabona ke Fabrice ukuthi
what excuse ukuthi bekune winter, because even here winter was there.
Winter beyikhona uyabona,
but bakhonile kuyinaka lenza
and sakhuluma ukuthi bona bane necessary yabo sebasusele inesari yabo labathatha khona lo green bona basuse bawufaka lapha eground. So uyabona ukuthi batimisele kanganani and now beva bakhuluma ngaligoli ngale vision yabo ukuthi bafuna le golf course ibe ikuphi in 5 years time. Ngicabanga ukuthi uyamangala kakhulu.
I want us to move on to the next topic, but before we move on to the next topic, Master, let's just touch on this aspect to say, if you look at countries like the likes of Ethiopia, Kenya, Eritrea, there's a reason why when you talk about World Indoors Marathon, there's always a Kenyan, there's always an Ethiopian, because that has been given so much attention. And maybe it's high time when they talk about International Ladies Open, Golf Open, everything, we should give that attention. We've got facilities, we've got the talent, we've got the stars. Why not?
Fabrice, ngicabanga ukuthi ubala lamavela ubala Ethiopia, ubala Kenya, Tanzania, ngicabanga ukuthi marathon bayatiwa kakhulu bese sohamba eJamaica namhlanje ngasoyabuta ukuthi the greatest sportsman lokuqhamuka eJamaica ngicabanga ukuthi ingijimi sprinter Usain Bolt. So uyabona ukuthi labamvu babuka abahlala phansi babuka kusibona bagude ngakuphi. Ukhuluma ngaBrazil for a very long time bakhuluma ibhola. Ubowathi nje ukuthi producer masters ukhuluma ngabo Rivaldo, ukhuluma ngabo Ronaldo, ngabo Ronaldinho, ngabo bacethe. So nathi as a country ngeke ngasho before ngathi kudinga ukuthi sihlale phansi sibuke ukuthi if igolf yasebenzela, if itaekwondo yasebenzela, if iboxing yasebenzela, why not singayiniki recognition lenkulu than other sports, even nale mali labayitholako. Some associations athola imali encane from sports and recreation but benda ngcono than lamanye lathola imali enkulu.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are not attacking anyone. As we speak, honestly speaking, fair and truly, we're all about building the sport and the industry. So if we touch on a point, we want the best results. It's in the interest of the public that all these speeches and discussions are done. Now, moving on, over the weekend, there was the 2020 Bikers Rally, where one would say it was one of its kind this time around. When you look at now that international guests were not allowed due to the, the ins and out of the coronavirus pandemic. I mean, Boko Nabose Riders Range. Singasho, what did you see in terms of activities? How was the gathering and Begunjan on its own?
Fabrice ngabansi yaqala on Saturday. Nabona iqala on Saturday beqala ngeregister. Babo onke ama bikers afike a register. And Saturday it was a different occasion because Saturday bo register. Uthunga register Saturday uthathe likhadi lakho lo register ngalo then bese soyaphuma khona eRiders Range. So yahamba to any place letinzawo ke betifakiwe Fabrice lebetifakiwe utivakashela including Bovulana, including Bopoponyana, including
so you're having a light moment with the president with one of executive member Mr. Mapang.
Oh yes, Fabrice besikhuluma nje ngimbuta ikakhulu ngale process yabo ya Saturday ngathola ke Fabrice njoba ngishilo ukuthi letindzawo lebetivakashelwa ukhuluma ngabo Mfuleni lifestyle Swazi Cattleys Hilton Hotel Bosibebe Resort Makazavane Lidwala Lodge House on Fire dineng letindzawo bakunika ukuthi tivakashele on Saturday then ke naso uthi #vakasha Eswatini ngicabanga tourism behanjiswa kakhulu on Saturday then naso register bongangeni Saturday kuto compete noma kutodlala ungaka #ngayitolo ungaka register ngayitolo so ngicabanga ukuthi yes le competition behamba sana nalo vakasha Eswatini.
Knowing that no one could leave the borders of the kingdom of Eswatini, of course it was under the right theme to say vakasha Eswatini. You were within the mountains and the surroundings of the country, vakasha everywhere in the kingdom of Eswatini. Now, you could not get a chance for yourself to go to a Riders Range to go watch and see what was happening, but we got you. This is what you missed.
Is as a result of what happened yesterday and today. So the Vakasha Ekaya. So everybody who did Asha no. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you. Thank you. So the reason this thing happened this weekend, we should have had more time, is that we wanted to appreciate the tourism industry for the support that they normally receive from all the bikers at this time of the year.
Launch control. Okay. Let's talk. Oh! I told you. right. Shirt.
Queen of the Drags, 1000 cc's and above, Barbara Fiver.
Against the 18. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Beautiful images, of course, all the way from Riders Ranch, produced and brought you by Eswatini TV sports team. Now, over the weekend, of course, that was happening, and I think one would want to say we saw the need, Master Singasho, the need for us and go out there and visit our own places. This is a place where mostly is packed because we expect people from outside to attend, and then I think it's high time sekususwale mentality ukuthi no akusikwethu lokho. Any activities that happens locally, it is ours. Like he said in a speech somewhere, somehow, Carlos Paiva, the founder and director of the Eswatini Rally, he said that this was a way to say thank you to the tourism industry for always bringing activities there. It was indeed a beautiful moment. Master.
Fabrice ngicabanga ukuthi nawu ukhumbula kahle ukuthi every time nakute my bikers, international bikers, like haya vele kugcwala kanganani, umnotho ufukule kanganani. So ngicabanga ukuthi yona i-Riders Ranch ngema bikers
the hyenas were there
bebafuna kubuyisela vele back to tourism yala ekhaya bahamba ke Fabrice
ama-fence
bekude ama-fence
in terms of years
batawubona la bebahleli lapha ngaphandle ngilamanye ama-bikers la bekamele ukuthi atawungena acompete sibonile ne-competition beyinhle kakhulu and amaseke Fabrice ukuthi kuwine ilady kule yashiya yena Nhlanhla Maphanga the lady lo winile ngumfana wakhe yena founder na director yena Carlos Pavia washiya yena Nhlanhla Maphanga
the executive member who happens to be the president of Eswatini Basketball Association
lophinze bekunguye beka award winners. So ngicabanga ukuthi it was a proud moment for her ukuthi angashiya Nhlanhla Maphanga phinze umnikete lawo ma prizes beka wina. Ngicabanga ukuthi le inhlangano yama bikers ngicabanga ukuthi motorsport involved inhle kakhulu Fabrice sike sabeka even before ukuthi nawubuka le ndlela ababamba ngayo ama competitions abo. Yes bekude ama fans but kunendlela laba entertainana ngayo and nalokuvana lokukhuluma ibusiness ke emkhathini kwabo. Ngicabanga ukuthi there is a lot le singakufunza kubo going forward.
Unfortunately, Master, bekune COVID-19 this weekend, but then if you look at the kingdom of Eswatini, now singasho ukuthi we're a bit offside sesiphumile ema sports sesiku tourism industry ukuthi we are a country where when it comes to some of the biggest events in the region, now we're even touching continental and worldwide. Singatsinze bo bushfire, that's another level. Singatsinze tournaments like Ngonyama Cup, that's another level. Now you look at the Eswatini Rally. I think I would say when you have such competitions, such events, they come in their numbers, and this was a misfortunate over the weekend not seeing them come in their numbers.
If khona social media unagile Fabrice ema international bikers bebakhuluma ukuthi this time last year uyabona. So ngicabanga ukuthi international vele sayisibona ama border gates nabefika sibone le migwaqweni. Ngicabanga ukuthi vele le coronavirus islimete kakhulu silive. So ngicabanga ukuthi nabo but ngicabanga ukuthi njengoba ngishilo ngathi asibashayile intandla abona ukuthi ba decide ukuvakashela tonke letindzawo tekuvakashela eSwatini ukhuluma ngabonisela ukhuluma ngabo Phophonyana ukhuluma ngabo Makatsavane ngicabanga ukuthi ukhuluma ngabo Vuvulane food market. Ngicabanga ukuthi dinenge letindzawo labatile so bekuyindlela yebuyisela kukhona ka tourism.
Wow, beautiful moments, of course, as they race there at Riders Ranch. Of course, Dlamini was a very busy man over the weekend. He had a lot on his plate. He had a lot to do over the weekend. He started from golf, going to the bikers. He ended his journey with pool activities somewhere, somehow within the facilities of the Matsapa area, where one of the biggest games was to see Correctional Pool Club facing, the defending champions, the Manzini Pool Club. However, the correctional team has a new mandate from the bosses to take this year's league. I think 3 seasons, and I think Lamine impressed on how they play. 13 results out of 10. We'll get to the results, but what did you take note of as we look at the pictures?
Fabrice uqinisile ngicabanga ukuthi isafika e-correctional kudlala yona ema-big games lokufaka ikhathi emanzini Pool Club nawe i-correctional being the host sakhanza beyilandzelwa yonke imigomo kusanitizwa konke tinvo social distancing maintainwa ema-mask afakwa ngicabanga ukuthi vele cishe ngalapho kutephepha bongangeni nje vele ungakafaki i-mask and nasebagcwele labamvulakasi labadlali bephuli bebamiswa ngaphandle kuthiwa abeme ngaphandle because sekugcwele amafastela avuliwe kwase sekufika khona ekhase gaming i-correctional versus yona imanzini Pool Club kwaqala
yena ngathi serious kakhulu master
bekudiscusswa ukuthi wabatshelwa labase correctional ukuthi iyafunakala le league and kuqala kwayo noma kuchubeka kwayo ngicabanga ukuthi kudla yona imanzini Pool Club yaqala ke igame ye-correctional imanzini Pool Club waqala we-correctional Satiso adlala naye into zakhe wakamanzini le game lena Fabrice ngicabanga ukuthi ngasho ukuthi yathusa wonke umuntu because
you will take us through silalela wena
nayiqala le game iyaqala uyaqala uyabreaka yena into zakhe nakaqala abreaka wakamanzini Pool Club nakaqala abreaka ngale kuleli tafula lelingala
laba yellow kamanzini laba green correctional
yes uyaqala uyabreaka yena namanto zakhe wabreaka nakabreaka wafaka emabhola lang 3 labovu kwangena inye le yellow but nakabreaka iyawa le white ball nayiwa le white ball wathatha yena Satiso nakathatha Satiso uphika lamabhola lamanengi lo munye bengacabanga bengaphika lamancane kani lalamancane ngiwo lala emekabi so nakaphika lalamanengi yena Satiso kwabe kuphela kwenzaba akamnikanga i-chance lengicabanga ukuthi this is the game of the season so far for me
singasho lo ngusatiso lokhuluma ngayo
yes
so
singasho lo yelo lomncane because uyakhumbula ukuthi ngithethe into zakhe wakamanzini ufake 3 wala red yes only 4 la selenyalo anto zakhe but waphika lo yelo kwabe kuphela kwenzaba wayidlala igame
so uphika
lo yelo lengicabanga ukuthi wamphika kahle because betime kahle vele bekambreake kahle nanto zakhe wakamanzini but Satiso being Satiso and I vile ne message leqhamuka kuboss bakhe ukuthi le league lena bayayifuna noma kanjani wadlala kahle kakhulu in fact wafaka ongevele amabhola ngekulandzelana nawubuka nje nyalo na black ngendlela bekathi nakashaya abuye asethe ngayo so bobona vele ukuthi i-professional player is a very very good player wamshaya nafuwe amabhola la red yawina kanjalo i-correctional.
No, is he new to the sport? How long has he been in the industry? Nawugatharisha ama-facts yakho
sikhashanyana ayidlala but ngicabanga ukuthi ngingasho last week ngathi i-practice ngiyole kwenda ukuthi ukhona ukuphumelela uyapractice asivilene ukuthi umisela kanganani khona kuma-practice match so ngicabanga ukuthi vele it was a very very good game.
It was a very very good game and I think people like the likes of Flag Ngumalo who've been in the sport for quite some time, I'm sure it was a good day indeed looking at how things went. Now when you look at the results Lamine, we looked at the results last week. Now ubuka nama teams lafana nabo Punya nabo Mahlanya bemenjani?
Punya, we remember last week ukuthi Punya sakhuluma ngayo ukuthi the one team letakabi this season siyibonile ukuthi nayo iyadlala kakhulu batimisela ngicaba ukuthi imanzini ukuthi ngabe nyusa amasokisi sikhulumile ngathi bama defending champions. In fact Fabrice labe badlala more especially in correctional ngilaba ngakhonanga kuthola ema venue last week so bebadlala ke bona namuhla nayitolo so ngicabanga ukuthi kumele sicacise lapho because last week abakhonanga kudlala kwababede ema venues but this venue yase correctional ngicabanga ukuthi ina bench ehlala labanye badlali
accommodating
ngicabanga nje ukuthi nizawule kahle ukuthi ngadlalele pool kushaya umoya uyakhona ku circulator ngicabanga ukuthi bayakhe kahle inzawule kahle.
what a tour, what a weekend, of course, that you've had from Saturday, what I would say from Friday or so something, up to today when it was a public holiday. Has a busy weekend to give us activities. But with time against us, of course, he had wished to touch on the international page. Of course, I know he wanted to talk about how Arsenal are the champions of the FA Community Shield. 10 seconds, what can you say?
Oh, Fabrice, Arsenal won on Saturday. In fact, sinasuka kupool sabe sesiyagijima sina producer washo wasajike endlini ngasho ngathi mina ngiyibola producer of Manchester mina ngifavor Arsenal ngasho vela ngathi ngiyobukela i-Community Shield and athetha ke wayiwina ke i-Community Shield so not wedding komishi so lafikile fike nga December and kuleto inkomishi leto ushaye Klopp wamshaya na Pep so ngicabanga ukuthi so far so good for him and le team Arsenal.
Ngivusha nje abantu ku social media musukuthi why now people bathi akusingomishi ngoba uyiwina in one day.
No, nakuyi Arsenal akusingomishi ngomishi lencane kodwa nakungilamanye ama teams kuthiwa ingomishi. I remember Mourinho nakawina yona Community Shield ayina yona Europa. I remember iChelsea nayiwina yona FA Cup beba celebrate but nakuyi Arsenal kuthiwa ingomishi lencane but otherwise I'm not there.
Utang defender masana sesiphuma ngoba producer yasivalidisa. Messi uyahamba yini noma usawusala ku Barcelona?
Fabrice ngicabanga indaba yaMessi ilikhuni kakhulu because iphumile i-legal team yakhe kwathiwa i-release clause ithi end of the season angahamba mahala naka decide akuhamba mahala but iBarcelona ithi kuna 700 million i-release clause yakhe Messi but stauva sikhathi sacubeka ngabathembisa ababukele ngathi ngeyiphela inyanga singabathuleli invole official.
Thank you very much for being here, Master Tlamini.
Kubonga mina Fabrice sibonga nemaloya viewers ekhaya.
Of course, that picture just saw it was one of the highlights of Community Shield showing us how Arsenal they were celebrating. Otherwise, issues pertaining to Messi is getting momentum, looking at how even the Spanish La Liga is considering standing in the way of Messi moving, looking at how they are also not happy to lose another superstar, looking at how issues of commercials, the La Liga might not have that much of a viewership. Having lost Cristiano Ronaldo, they don't allow themselves to lose someone like Lionel Messi. What a weekend, what a beautiful Monday it was, of course, in the company of Lamini. From the moment we talked to our own and international Nobuhle Lamini to the moment where we touched on activities such as Swazi Rally, pool activities over the weekend and golf in different parts of the country. Otherwise, for those who are watching us on different platforms, YouTube, Skuchan and other platforms, thank you very much. Be with us. Tomorrow, repeat, of course, same time, 8 in the morning if you miss the chance. Otherwise, for the team, for me, for Mr. Lamini, we don't play. Sitela Gamnaz.
Told you.
Queen of the tracks, 1000 cc's and above, Barbara 5.